Hello, Laura. Thank you for joining me tonight. I really appreciate it. How are you?
Absolutely. I'm doing very, very well. Good weather, 80 degrees.
Nice. I don't even know what it is here in Kentucky. I have no idea. I know it's
Mhm.
cold in the house. It's just why I have
Yeah.
a jacket on. It's 88 outside. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
warm, but it's good.
Yeah.
But I'm going to go through the chat, say hello to who's here. Evelyn. Hello, friends. Hello, Evelyn. Lynn is here saying hi to my husband who's somewhere out there.
Mhm.
Kat Diamond is here. She wants your garlic honey recipe, please.
We will do that.
You'll have to do a separate video on that just for your honey.
Mhm.
Sounds like it'd be good. Carnivore Coach Edens. Hi, Laura. Hello. Welcome to the chat. Brian Dish is here. Good evening, everyone. And Evelyn saying hello. Brian saying hi to us. 5 weeks in, I've started taking the wrap off at my last break every day. I think I'll live. She had something wrong with her foot, and she's
Oh,
really been struggling with that. Don Schonger is here. Good evening. Hello, Don. Thank you for joining us. Hi there, just watching the live with Deb, getting caught up. Hello, Risa. Yeah, that was fun. My sister was just here a couple days and left this morning. Yeah, we did a live stream on Wednesday. I do one every Wednesday with my husband, and my sister joined us from behind. It was fun.
nice.
Charlie's here. Darth Carnivore. Hello. Done. Everybody's always be kind is here. Hello. Hello. Kay is here. Coach Eden says happy birthday to who? I
I don't know.
don't
Mhm.
know either. Thomas is here. Target Prime Rib. Hello. It's nice to meet
Yep.
you all. Yeah.
Mhm.
Little play on words there. Kay
Yeah.
is here. And Aaron is here. Hello, everyone. It's Booby
Yeah.
Goats. And Amy is here, rocking Coach Amy. Say
Yep.
hello. And Thomas says, saw you live with CB. Very good. All right. So, Laura, I know a little bit about your background. I started trying to watch some of your older stuff, older videos, but from what I saw, you've been away from the SAD diet since the 90s. That's
91.
impressive. That's impressive. Whoa. So what made you come away from that?
Um, well, I grew up, I wasn't necessarily what I would call a morbidly obese child, as you kind of see a lot of the kids now, but I was always on the heavier side, lived next door to a German grandmother, which means you clean everything off your plate and they make your plate. So by the time I graduated high school, I was 240 pounds. By the time I was 20, I was 313 pounds.
Wow.
And now I'm so thankful that I had a crappy doctor because listening to his advice, I did low fat chicken breast, the low fat dressings, which are all seed oils and high sugar,
Mhm.
because that's the only way you could make it taste good when she took the fat out. And I had done that for several months and just kept climbing weight wise. Um, had lab work done. It was even before she, like, soon as she drew my blood, she turned the tube on the side. You're supposed to read off your name and your birthday. And there were these little white chunks inside of it. And I was like, I mean, it looked like Crisco. And I said, what is that? And she goes, oh, it's just fat. And I'm thinking, that's not normal. That can't be normal. And of course, I was not a nurse. I was a factory worker building
Mhm.
semis and stuff. I was a welder riveter at the time. Um, and I just thought, boy, that's bad. I don't think that looks right. So, then you see the doctor a week later, and he informed me that my triglycerides were at least 1,000. That's as high as their meter went, and they went there very quickly. So that's why he assumed they were much higher. And he informed me that that means diabetes is coming when you see the triglycerides high, because they didn't have hemoglobin A1C testing back then. At least I don't remember them ever doing it.
Mhm.
And I love to poke other people. I do not enjoy poking myself. And so when he told me I was going to be poking myself 4 times a day and probably doing insulin by the following year, I knew I had to do something
Wow.
drastic.
Mhm.
Um, and of course, he takes out his prescription pad, and Lipitor had come out around 87. And so he writes a script for Lipitor and hands that to me. And I remember thinking, this doesn't seem right either. Something just didn't feel right. And I remember asking him, very much like what you would think an antibiotic, like you take this 7 days, you take this 10 days, maybe 14. And when I asked him how long I was going to take this, he said, for the rest of your life. And I'm like, I'm 20. I have no intentions of living out of a medication bottle. I'm just not going to do that. And he says, well,
Wow.
you're going to have to take this. He says, otherwise, these are the things that are coming. And I've always been don't trust, definitely verify.
Mhm.
But just having him like be so aloof, like just take the pill, that I thought this doesn't feel right. And
Yeah.
so that same day, I went to a library in town where I grew up. I grew up in southeastern Iowa, and I went to the library, and the poor little librarian, I kind of feel bad now. She had to take that little rolling ladder and literally pull down some of the oldest books I'd ever seen in my life. I mean, leather bound, like you see on these scary movies, these huge, but they
Yeah.
were like old medical journals with really thick dust on them, veterinarian books from like anywhere. I think the earliest one was like 1851, 1852, up to about 1905. And of course, we all know what happened in 1910 about the medical industrial complex being formed with certain few families taking over the medical system. So I knew enough already. Like, I don't want to look at anything past that because that's just more of the same of what this guy's spewing.
Mhm.
And Xerox copied, I forget how much they were per copy, but just copied, everything I could out of these journals and these books, and took them home. And for weeks, as soon as I get off work, it was constantly reading all this stuff. And some of the shocking stuff is we think we're so smart with some of the terms that we have now in 2025. They had the same terms in 1850. I mean, they were talking about polysaccharides and saturated fat, and they had the same terms. And
Mhm.
they were saying how saturated fat was necessary and how these things are necessary, and excessive of carbohydrates, non essential, non nutritive is
Right.
exactly the terms that they used. Yeah. And I just am like, this goes against everything we were told. And of course, 90s is when that nice little food pyramid had came out. And I was like, 7 to 11 servings of bread and pasta. No, I'm not doing that. That doesn't seem right either.
No.
And so, yeah. So after several weeks of reading all of this stuff, I gave up pop right away and lost like 20 pounds just that first, month of just giving that up while I was reading this stuff. Um, and then I just opened up my pantry and I took everything that was boxed, everything white potatoes, pasta, rice, sugar, all the things. And I took it to the food pantry, which I apologize to those people for now because now I would just throw it in the trash. But at the time, I thought it was better than nothing. And so I did get rid
Mhm.
of that stuff. And then I really, my mother had done Atkins in 72, 73, which I know everybody's like, his book came out in 91. I'm like, no, he did a book in the early 70s as well. And it was even a stricter form of Atkins than what his book in the 90s did. But she had lost like 200 pounds doing that. And
Wow.
yes, and it was very similar in the beginning. The induction phase, I think, is what they call that, to
Mhm.
carnivore. And I thought that's crazy. I'm doing my vegetables because I always had a garden. So I did keto for about 9 months. I call it keto, that's what the name is of it now, but back then it was just like no carbs, low carbs, just something
Mhm.
like that. And I'd
Right.
say probably 20 to 50 carbs a day would have been what I was doing generally. I wasn't doing real high fat in the beginning. It was actually too low of fat, which kind of messed up my hormones and stuff like that. But within 9 months, I lost 153 pounds, went back, had
Wow.
lab work. I didn't know how much I'd lost. I just knew that I was having to go to the used clothing store and buy clothes every other week.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, which I still do because I don't like paying full price for anything. It's ridiculous what things cost.
Mhm.
So I went and had my blood work done, and the first thing I did is I wanted to look at that tube. I wanted to see, do I have any of that stuff in there anymore? Well, this time I did not. And she spun and she spun and she spun. And I thought, boy, last time they just spun it and it was done. So I didn't really understand that. I didn't know what that meant. And so
Wow.
went to the doctor after they got their results, and of course comes in and he's like, oh, your markers, he goes through everything, and he's like, your total cholesterol, I think it was like 288, but the normal was 300 back then. That wasn't considered high. So 288 was great, because like I said, 300 was the norm before they kept artificially lowering that number. And my
Right.
triglycerides were 33. And of course, he's doing this. Oh, it's such a good doctor for giving you that statin. Of course, my LDL was actually still over 100. So his statin, if I had been taking it, wasn't doing what it's supposed to do because it really does destroy the LDL.
Right.
Um, but anyway, and I just said, I didn't fill your script. And it was like the air just got sucked out of the room and you could tell instant ego,
Mhm.
instant he was mad. And he just looked at me, and basically I had tried to reason with him like, hey, I got a 77 Camaro out here. It's got a 327, Corvette motor in it. I have to run turbo blue. So you run the best gas in your car to get the best out of it. Doesn't it make sense that we put the best in us? Because that's what I told him. I changed my diet. I did these things. Nope. And he just basically wasn't going to hear anything about it, and just stood up and said, you're going to die a fat ass. And I'm like, I'm going to lose 200 pounds today because you're fired. And I said, shame on you for not knowing how the human body works when this is your job. I had to go learn before the internet, uh, you know, digging through these books to figure out how the human body functions at its best. And that was the last time I saw him until mid 2000s when I took care of him for in clinical for open heart. So
Wow.
that was interesting. So
Wow. I bet
yeah,
that would have been like, whoa, look what you're doing and look what I did. Like, it's
we
like
had that
I
discussion.
yeah, I had a doctor in New Hampshire. He was so supportive. He was great.
Good.
He listened, he took his time. It was fantastic. When we moved from New Hampshire to Kentucky, the doctor that my husband found online that had a 5-star review was a jerk. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like I went in there one day asking for different blood work with Dr. Barry's book in hand.
Yep.
He's like,
Yep.
well, I don't know who this joker is, but he doesn't know what he's talking about. And that was it for me. I was like, "Duh, I'm done.
Yep.
My husband still goes to
Yeah.
this jerk, so I still have to see him. But I have a
Mm.
doctor. She's actually an APRN, which is way better,
Yep.
in my
Yes.
opinion. And
Yeah.
she listens. She's supportive. She
Mhm.
cracks me up that when I get my blood work done, she said, your blood work is better than mine. I said, what does that tell you?
Mhm.
It's like,
Mine too. Yeah.
but years ago, you talk about Lipitor,
Mhm.
back in the early 2000s. When I met my husband, I started going to his doctor then, and he put me on that. And I'm like,
Mm.
whatever. I could not do this without
I was
pain.
gonna say
I could not
muscle.
raise my arm. I'm like, nope. I just stopped taking it. Didn't even tell him until my next regular visit. I said, oh, by the way, I quit taking that medicine. He says, okay. What
Mm.
kills me is they know all the side effects.
Yep.
They know, and they don't bother to share that information with anybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody's going to be so diligent as to read all the side effects.
Right. Right.
It's sad. It's a sad world. It's like,
It
it's
is.
crazy. But
It is
anyway, go
really
ahead. I'm
sad.
sorry.
Yeah, no, you're fine. So I basically just stayed doing what they would call keto. Had a second child. My children are 5 years apart, so that was a keto baby. Had no issues there. Gained like 9 pounds, and he was 7 pounds 6 ounces. I mean, it was perfect. Able to breastfeed properly. 14 months, no issues there. Continued keto for up to 26 years. And then those sneaky little carnivore treats started showing up in the marketplace. And I hadn't read a label in 26 years because my food didn't come with the label. So I just got to where, oh, I'll just grab this. It's Quest bar says keto, and it was like Oreo cookie or cookie dough or something. I don't know.
Mhm.
And I can remember I bought like two or three the first time from Hy-Vee store, and I ate one and it was like instant boom. And it was like I had to eat that second one. And I almost ate the third one that same evening before going to bed. And then it was like, come
Wow.
back to reality. And I was like, I can't do that. But I did get into that. Oh, and I don't mind it, but I don't want to cook. I don't want to spend hours in the kitchen to make a cheesecake look and taste exactly like what I used to eat. It can be done. I did it, but I
Mhm.
don't wanna do that, and a lot of those sugar alcohols, I think, led to me having leaky gut syndrome, led to a lot of
Wow.
issues, body-wise. I had cystic acne, was getting ready to go through menopause, and I wouldn't say I hadn't gained weight, but my joints would swell. I mean, they were just achy and creaky, and I thought, "Well, you're getting close to 50, you're 48," and I was sitting on the couch with my husband and the cats and just scrolling through Facebook and come upon a Joe Rogan podcast. I'd never even seen one of his podcasts before, but I
No.
thought, who's this bald headed guy talking to, with these big earphones on, talking to this big ox of a guy, and it was Dr. Baker. And he's interviewing him. And his first interview wasn't as good as his second interview, which I watched later, but everything Dr. Baker was talking, I just was like, that makes perfect sense. My mother is German and Irish and Scottish. My father is American, I don't know, whatever his mother was, or his mother was Cherokee Indian and his dad was something. So so that just made sense because I thought they didn't chase broccolis. They didn't move their
Mhm.
people around following plants. Now, did he eat berries? Sure, when they were in season. And I still do that. I will go out when our mulberry trees, in summer will bloom and have some mulberries. I'll have a couple. Um, and then I'm like, okay, that's it. And it doesn't drag me into like, I need a bunch of sugary stuff. But I just thought this makes sense. So I'm an all or none personality, a little bit of OCD in there. And so the very next day of watching that video, I was like, that's it. And it was easy because I was going from keto right to carnivore and I didn't eat a lot of vegetables. The vegetables that I ate on keto were broccoli, cauliflower, and asparagus. And once in a while I tried those they look
Brussels
like little
sprouts.
cabbages.
Brussels
Yes,
sprouts.
Brussels sprouts. They were okay. But that was the only ones that I really ate. So it was very simple. The harder thing for me was the first 2 years I ate kind of what the most of the people out there were talking about, like, when it come to fat protein ratio. And I did that. I gained 10 pounds the first month I went carnivore. And I didn't I could tell it because my nursing clothes, we wear scrubs. They were starting to get to the point where they were not the most comfortable. And I
Mhm.
thought, I'm not going and buying new scrubs. I'm just not doing it. Yeah, I'm frugal and I'm not
Right.
doing it. But I also was like, okay, I'm just going to trust this. I'm going to trust everything that I heard come out of Dr. Baker's mouth about the healing, and you got to heal, and then the body will release. And, different times you'll stall and something else needs to be worked on in the body. It can't work on everything at one time. And then it'll come back. And I just stuck with it. And I went in one night, we were going out, and I went in to get a pair of jeans off of a hanger out of my closet. And of course, as most women, you've got size 12, 10s, 8s, you've got all the sizes. And I
Yeah.
just grabbed the first one out of there and I put them on, and they were a little tight, but not horrible. And I thought, dang it. I'm like, I thought these might be a little looser. And went to the bathroom. And of course, then you can see your tag. And I was like, oh, well, that's a whole size smaller. Yeah, yeah, which is a good thing. I was kinda happy
Yep.
with that. And then over the next few weeks, I had developed really bad cystic acne, of course, starting to go through menopause, that's kinda common, and the joint pain had been pretty bad that, I love to do, like, running. I like to rebound and sprint now. I don't do long distance running. I can. I think that's my genetics in there with Cherokee. Um, but I was doing a lot of hit workouts. I like Turbo Fire. If anybody out there has heard of Turbo Fire, I
Mhm.
have all of those discs, CDs, whatever you want to call them. And I still have a player that, every once in a while I'll do like just a 15-minute, but I don't do anything crazy. I don't do 45-minute hit workouts anymore. I'm 54. I don't want to do it and I'm not.
You're still
But
young.
with, yeah, but within like so many weeks, less than 6 weeks of going carnivore, my cystic acne had completely cleared up.
Mhm.
My vision, which was kind of crazy, was clearer, was better. My joint pain was gone. My swelling, I would have swelling every morning when I'd get up, my hands would swell. And so I, I just was like, this is it. This is what I'm going to do.
Mhm.
And my husband does not eat like this, but he also has been married to me long enough to know that if I say this is what I'm doing, that's what I'm doing, and it's okay for
Right.
you to do your thing, and I can do mine. So it works out very well because generally I would kind of plan out what's the meat going to be, and then if he wanted a potato or a salad, I mean, sometimes I make it, sometimes I don't. But he was 49 when we met and a bachelor, so I figure he knew how to cook, so he's okay. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of how we have done. I did bump my fat up. Um, Probably 3.5 years now, ago. So I'm 6.5 years, carnivore, about almost 3 years lion now. Um, in fact, I think I am already 3 years lion, which is just ruminant meats, but I
Right.
switched to a higher fat. I just started bumping the fat up and noticed my hormones were doing much better with higher fat. I had better energy, better sleep.
Mhm.
Um, of course, the skin looks better, all of those things. And so I sit at about 80/20. I don't weigh anything. I'm not going to. I spent too many years on keto weighing out everything that I'm like, I'm not doing it. So, but generally when I eat, it's 80% of it is coming from fat and then 20% is from protein. And that's really where I kind of feel my best. I have a website that I work with a lot of different clients. Um, and generally, the women tend to need that higher fat, is what I have seen with all of the clients I've worked with. There are some people who do have some genetic issues that higher fat doesn't work for them, but
Mhm.
I have found that to be extremely, extremely rare. So yeah, and of course, I integrate healthy eating into my nursing life. So when I went to nursing school, I was so glad I was keto before I went, especially to nutrition class, because they're just spewing what's in the books,
Oh, yeah.
and yeah, and we were in there, we were burning fat, sugar, and proteins on the Bunsen burners, and you got to get that thing up to blue flame, and I don't even know how many degrees it is, but the lady's name was Mrs. Marshall, and, I said, "So it takes this much heat to break down all of these various, nutrients?" And she said, "Yeah," and I go, what inside me does that? And I said, "Is it the enzymes?" And she says, "Well, a little bit." But she says, "It, and she goes, "Look, there's thermoregulation." She tries to go in and she goes, "You know what? It doesn't matter. It's just kcals. It's on the test. Just kind of, answer the test." Okay. All right.
Wow.
So that's okay because I knew just regurgitate what you were being taught, what was in the book. And then I knew once I got out in practice that I'm always going to do the right thing. I can't be bought. They can threaten me all they want, doesn't matter. I'm going to do the right thing. And so it was like, I will teach people, you know, here's some options out there. Doesn't mean they have to do it, but I'm always looking, I scan the kitchen, I scan them, go over stuff. Um, and I've had one patient out of all of these years, over 23 years, that I went into the home. He was only 49 and he had had a massive heart attack, five-way bypass. Um, I mean, he was a total wreck. And just looking at his surgical report, I knew that, oh boy, like this guy's on borrowed time. Like I can't see this guy surviving to make 51. He
Mhm.
might see 50, but I doubt it. And so as I'm talking to myself, driving to his house to get him admitted for home health and some therapy, I'm like, you're not gonna get into the clean diet. You're not gonna just leave it alone. Like it's too far gone, it's too late. And I tried, but like 20 minutes in, all I could see is like Honey Nut Cheerios and Ho-Hos and Ding Dongs and Doritos. And I was like, so I ended up,
Mhm.
saying, and it's still, uh, he was very thin guy. So he's like, that's not a problem. I'm like, it is. Your arteries were just clogged with all of this plaque, which is like calcium, a little bit of cholesterol, but it's like calcium, magnesium, phosphorus, manganese, all the things that make up your bones. And so I tried, but his wife actually learned much more from it because he ended up, I think he lived for about a year. We were done seeing him, and then he actually had like a cancer that had developed and was very quick and over. So he did make 50, but then the wife reached out and was like, "Hey, like I don't want to go down this same road. I remember what you said. I've taken a lot of these things out." And so I just went to her house and worked with her. And she's doing wonderful. She's not carnivore, but she is definitely like keto.
Mhm.
And some people that's completely fine. I work with everybody. I just think getting into ketosis for the majority of people is a whole heck of a lot better than sitting around with the standard American diet.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm more ketovore. I
Yeah.
like my keto chow. You know,
Yeah.
we have very
Yeah.
few vegetables in this house. If any,
Yeah.
it's cauli rice or
Yeah.
cauliflower. If I
Yep.
go out, I may have a salad with my meal or some green beans. But
Yep.
I had gastric bypass in 2007, so I
Right.
get full really fast. And
Yeah.
as a differently from what I used to do when I was young, I would always save my protein for last because it was my favorite part of the meal. So whether
Yeah.
I was full or not, I was going to eat that. It didn't matter. Now that goes first.
Hmm.
Obviously, that's like if I
Yeah.
have room for any green beans or a couple bites of salad, that's what it
Yeah.
is. But, and like I
Yeah.
said backstage, my husband had followed suit with keto 2 weeks after I started. And it'll be 5 years for me
Excellent.
next week. And within 22 months, I had lost 100 pounds. I'm
Oh,
67 years
wow.
old.
That's
And
good.
yeah, I feel great. It's
Yeah.
like, well, my husband just told me today, and this is going to be news for everybody in the chat. He's
Mhm.
going to try carnivore.
Good.
He has never. Now I've done challenges. I've done the BBB&E challenge. I've done egg fast.
Sure.
He never. He's like, nope, not doing them. You do your thing. You do your thing.
Yep.
Nope. He came at me today and he says, I want to change stuff. And I'm like, who is this guy?
Yeah. What happened to
But
you? That's
well,
good.
he gets that roller coaster blood sugar sometimes, and it's
Yes.
frustrating.
Does he wear CGM?
Oh yeah, and he's on an insulin
Okay.
pump, and oh yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
like I said, he's been diabetic since he was 2 years old. He's
Does
fought
he
this.
do you guys follow Dr. Tony Hampton?
Dr. Hampton, Dr. Berry,
Okay.
Dr. Baker.
Well, they're right. But the reason I asked about Tony Hampton is because Dr. Hampton's wife is a type
Yeah.
1 as well. And
Mhm.
yeah, so I just thought he's a good resource to listen to kind of go with that. And
Oh yeah.
I haven't had any type 1 diabetics that I worked with personally or at my work. I have had several type 2 diabetics, and I've had two that were type 2 diabetic over 25 years, both of them, both in their 70s. One was 74, the other one was 72, that are no longer diabetic. And they went keto, ketovore, basically.
It's
Yeah,
amazing. It's
that's
absolutely
the only
amazing.
time that I've had a doctor threaten me, was the first guy, because he didn't realize I had the second guy because he wasn't the one who ordered home health. But he called me several months after I was done working home health with one of them that had already had an amputation of the right lower leg, and truck driver, and was trying to get healed up so he could get a prosthetic so he could still drive, because you can get a CDL if your amputation's below the knee, but above the knee, you can't. And he didn't really listen to me the first couple weeks when I was like, "Hey, you got to cut out this, add that to slow down how fast it converts to a sugar." And then he developed an area that wasn't healing and kind of an abscess, and had to go back and have it cleaned out. They call that incision and debridement. And then he had to have a wound back on there. So I was in there 3 times a week for about an hour and a half each time. And at that point, he was like, what do I need to do? What do I need to do? I'll do
Yeah.
whatever.
I
And
feel for him because I've had both of my knees
yeah,
replaced. And in
yeah,
2014 was the first one.
yeah. And
2017, it
that's
got infected. And I was
oh
on a
yes.
wound vac and IV antibiotics and then 8 months
Yep.
of oral antibiotics. It
Yeah.
was grueling. It
Yeah.
didn't being on all the antibiotics. I mean, I took probiotics, I ate the yogurt, I did the stuff to
Sure.
fight that.
Right.
And thankfully, it didn't bother my stomach or anything. And thankfully,
I love
that
it.
spot that
Yeah.
wasn't closing up healed. And but it was
Good.
a long few months, boy. It was crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, having a
Yeah.
septic joint, is pretty yeah, and the funny thing is with that, I've taken care of several septic knees, over the years. I've only had one that was septic from the time they came home from the hospital. Most of the time, a septic knee happens like you. It may be down the road. It may be 2 years down the road, and they get a bacterial infection, and it goes right to that joint, and that is
Oh, yeah.
pretty common, as to what we see. So yeah,
Well,
but,
that was right after surgery. I mean, there was a spot
oh,
that just
yours?
wasn't closing up.
Oh, yeah.
And, she tried it. My surgeon in New Hampshire, she tried everything. She was like, they did a second surgery of an incision and drainage,
Yep, yep,
and then it still wasn't healing. And then she did that again with a poly swap,
yep.
which for those in the chat, it's replacing the plastic piece that they put in there.
Mhm,
So they had to take
mhm.
that out and replace it. But I do know
The
someone, an
ceramic.
older gentleman in his 80s, that had an infection, and he had both of his knees done. Years later, several years later, he had an infection in his body and it attacked his joint. They had to take it out.
Yep, and they
It's
put
like,
a ceramic spacer in there.
they weren't even sure
Yeah,
if they were going to replace it again because he was in his
right.
mid 80s. And
Sure.
I'm like, ah, I felt so bad for him
Sometimes
because I knew that pain he was going
yeah.
through. It was
Well, and
nuts.
sometimes that's a death sentence for somebody that age, because sepsis. It's like a 2% chance of surviving sepsis after the age of 65. Although I think they're going to have to change that, because I have had several people over the last 5 years, who have gotten sepsis that were in their 80s and 90s and survived it. So I'm like, oh, you guys are beating the odds. Um, but you know, the people I take care of, um, some of the healthiest ones are in their 90s. Or
Yep.
there's a lady here in town. She's 103. She'll be 104 in November. Um, and but they don't do a lot of the stuff that my generation did. They didn't have all the things in their arms. They didn't have, you know, they were out in the dirt. They were out doing manual labor, you know, sun up, sundown on the farm,
Mhm.
stuff like that. And their food was cleaner, especially in the beginning when they were developing and you know, doing these things. And in my generation, I mean, Pop Tarts and
Mhm.
Doritos and every kind of sugary cereal there was out there,
Yep.
that was just it. You know, you didn't have scrambled eggs and bacon except for Saturday, Sunday when you went to stay at grandma's house. It was
Yep.
always cold cereal or Pop Tarts or something like that. And, you know, when you
Because
look
it
at
was
that stuff,
easy and it was convenient. That
yes. And you
they
have one
sadly.
parent. eh, Yeah. And well, especially like my mom was raising me by herself with my grandmother living next door. So I was raised by both. I always say both of them were my mothers because
Mhm.
my grandmother had me as much as my mom did. And but even her food, at least that she made, was from scratch. So it was still better than what the kids a lot of times get now when everything comes out of a box, it's hyper processed. And before I went to nursing school, I worked at a food factory for 5 years, and did some prereqs for my nursing there towards the end. And what was allowed, and this was like 1998, 7, something like that. The stuff that was allowed to be in our food then was bad enough, but it got worse. If you
Right.
can think of any worse. And I even back then, other countries were better at policing what was in their food because we would have different contracts for food. We had Dinty Moore stew, then we had Armor Star stew, then, you know, chili, all the things. And certain countries would order that, and we'd have to clean all the equipment, start all over, and it was like just like 5 ingredients. Then it'd be the Walmart order for the United States come in, and I mean, it literally was almost as bad as dumping your trash cans in there. It was like, big batches, big, huge stacks of maltodextrin and glutens and all these things, and it's like, this cannot be, this is like bizarro world. But
Yeah.
that that was nice to see because I knew about, like, the contaminants that are allowed to be in your food. So, like, human consumed food, you can have a third of a whatever item in that food by weight. So we
Right.
would get these 2,000-pound totes of mechanically deboned chicken or beef or whatever the meat product would be. And I mean, we had a woman's finger with a red fingernail inside one time that she had obviously lost her finger at the
Oh,
factory, you know. Yeah.
goodness.
And it was down in the center of this because we x-rayed everything as it come in to make sure you didn't have, you know, metal objects in there, which because we found junction boxes before in these things. It's just crazy. But they had the USDA guy come out, and he just took a stainless steel shovel. Everything had to be stainless steel that we use, and he went around that and he took a core sample and they weighed it, and it was like, so they took it out, the finger at least, but that went right in and was batched up and went right out the door in product. And I just was like,
Oh,
the
no.
USDA guy. So this was close. This was maybe 99 when that last one happened, where I was just like, and I was a union steward and the safety person. I was like, I'm not, this can't be okay. And I remember looking at him, you know, everybody was afraid of Y2K. So we were just busy because we did canned Vienna sausage and potted meat. Don't eat those if you don't have to. But I just looked at him and I said, if the shit hits the fan like everybody's saying it's going to, what the heck am I supposed to eat if you can't and he said, "You'd be better off buying Alpo. It's got higher standards than human consumed food." And I was like, "Wow. Wow."
That's oh my goodness.
Yeah,
We got
it was crazy.
it's nuts. We have Oaktown
Yeah.
Girl here. Steve
Yes.
Lewis is saying
And
hi,
tea.
Lori. Laura.
Yes.
Wendy Benjamin is
And
here.
yay.
Yes. I just wanted to make sure I touched base with everybody. Amy is saying, hey, Laura, I just have to tell you that we also have a 5.56 223
And
caliber as
223.
well. She will know what that means. This came up
I
in
do.
last live stream with Russ. All
It
righty.
did.
There we go. Yeah, work is important sometimes. I'm retired, so I'm good. My
Hmm.
fault. I got a late start. No problem.
It's okay.
Problem. I go at 2 o'clock this morning. Well, tomorrow morning. Ooh.
Yeah. Messes
Oh,
with your sleep patterns.
yeah, yeah. My dad used to
Yeah.
work third shift all the time. He would
Yeah.
come home. He would take my mom to work, and then he would sleep until it was time to pick her up. And if he was up earlier, he'd make dinner, go pick her up. So when she got home, she didn't have to do anything
Yeah.
except sit down to eat.
I, yeah. I
Lorraine
think that's
Poulin
hard
is
on
here.
people.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
I just said that I think that's hard on people. I know that we got to have people working. You know, got to have nurses, got to have stuff like that working
Mhm.
thirds. But I just think that's unnatural for the circadian rhythm. But I know people that figure it out.
Oh yeah, and he did. He did well with it. It was like,
Yeah,
it was second nature to him. Thomas
yeah,
said, I remember working overnights. Now I work 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. working 18 hours to not lose my disability benefits. Yeah,
right. Yeah,
I get it. I've definitely gained a bit, need to, because some of my summer pants are a bit tighter on me. Yeah, I got to weigh myself tomorrow. I need to gain another 10 pounds. Yeah, Risa is very tiny.
is she? Yeah,
It's rare that you hear somebody say they want to gain weight. I was
yeah.
like,
I have. I've worked with a couple people that it was that they needed to gain weight, and they still do moderate fat, but I do higher protein.
mhm,
So I because that gluconeogenesis, and
right.
so it's gonna turn it into glucose, but I also work with them on lifting heavier also.
Mhm. Amy said she could listen to you all day. Evelyn wants to know, how many cats do you have? Two.
2, I had 3, but he passed away this year. He turned 22 July 5th, and he passed away August 3rd.
Wow.
But he
We
was a
have a dog
carnivore
that
kitty.
is we have a dog that is 15. He's blind. He can't hear. He has dementia. It's
Oh,
it's
no.
like, holy cow, dude. But
Our cat
I
was
mean, what
pretty
is that,
good up until the
105?
That's yeah, that's a lot. Yeah, our cat was pretty good up until the last few weeks. Um, I my husband had a lot more trouble, even though it was my cat. Um, he really couldn't handle that last few days of his life because I know how the body is supposed to shut down. You don't want to drink, you just want to lay around, you want to be away from everybody else. And I was respecting that. I was putting little eye drops in his eyes though, because I was like, I don't want his eyes dry. But otherwise, I'm like, this is normal. My husband's like, shouldn't I give him a dropper of water? And I'm like, no, like this is just. And so he wasn't in any kind of distress or anything. He'd still
Mhm.
lift his head and let you scratch him under his neck, or he liked having his armpits scratched too. So he'd put his little arm up. Um, and he went on his own. I mean, just exactly like and I said if he was outside, you wouldn't find him because that's how they do. They would take off, but he would go off into a room by himself and just lay on the carpet and just kind of lay there and just nature did exactly what it's supposed to do. And we had him for 22 years and he was definitely our carnivore cat. He loved all meats, all meats.
Now you said you're 80/20 with 80%
Yes.
fat. What kind of
Yep.
protein do you wind up getting in daily,
So,
gram wise?
um, yeah, I probably do 6 ounces, 6 to 8 ounces of protein generally. Now, there might be a day where I have like a ginormous ribeye. My people, I have them leave the entire fat cap on. I said, not cutting it off. Um, and I can sit down and eat that entire thing at one sitting. I actually at Keto Palooza, we went to the Brazilian steakhouse 2
Yeah.
nights, and, I had fasted for 3 days prior on purpose, and I'm pretty proud to say I'd never been to one before, so I was like, "What is this coaster thing?" You know?
Yeah.
And so Russ had to kinda teach me, like, "Well, you flip it over to green," and I was like, "Oh, I've got this." Boy, and then we went a second night, with, Brett from Hoosier Carnivore, Charlie was there, my
Yeah.
husband, the gal that was there, Sandra, Russ was there, and, Nurse Kim was there,
Mhm.
and we just I yeah, my husband was like, "I'm pretty impressed, I you kept up with the guys," and really, we all out ate Russ. He's more of a grazer, he said,
Mhm.
but, yeah, I was pretty proud of myself. I'm not sure how many pounds I ate, but on the general day, I cook up anywhere from half a pound to 1 pound of ribeye fat, really crispy, and then I always put my Redmond salt on it, and I eat it first. It goes on the plate with however much protein that I'm doing, but I always eat the fat. And then if I get to the protein and I get halfway through it and I'm full, I stop. If I'm
Right.
still hungry, I'll eat the entire thing. I did a lot of extended fasting, and I think you really kind of learn your body's cues when you integrate fasting into what you're doing. So you do have
Yeah.
to be
We do.
careful, your husband being a type 1.
Yeah. Well, we do intermittent fasting every day. We don't
Right.
usually eat our first meal till 1, 2, sometimes 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah.
But I have done several 3-day fasts. I haven't done any more than that. That's
Yeah.
to me, I like, what? Go a day without food? What?
Yeah. The first t and really, it's kind of a funny story. My husband, I kind of fibbed to him just a little, but I wasn't really doing the electrolytes. I wasn't keeping up on salt, um,
Mhm.
when I'd already been carnivore, but I think it's when I converted over to lion diet, and I really wasn't watching, it was summertime, I wasn't doing enough salt, I'm sure, and I stood up from the bed and whoop, down I went. And my
Wow.
husband was like, "Did you pass out?" And I was like, "No, I tripped." Because I came right back up. And then I knew instinctively, this is the crazy thing. I instinctively knew to go out to the kitchen and I poured salt in my hand and I threw it under my tongue and I was fine. And then that's when I was like, I need to study more on how the salt works in the body and why we need that and all those things. Started making Soleil water, and I drank Soleil water every day up until probably a year ago. And then all at once, it was like, I don't need this. And so I only salt my food to taste now, but for a long time, 2 years at least, I had that Soleil water every single day. And then, of course, I do, 1 salty packet,
Mhm.
in the morning. I don't do coffee, so I warm it up. So I use the Coco Loco, so it tastes like hot chocolate and,
Yep.
hot cocoa. So I do
Yeah.
that.
I don't drink coffee either, and I get raised about that
Yeah,
all the time through this community. It's
yeah,
funny. My
yeah.
husband, he's the coffee drinker. Not so much.
Mine too. Yeah, my husband loves his coffee. In fact, we had a derecho here in 23 come through this side of Illinois. We're the opposite side of Chicago, of Illinois, and we had no power for 3.5 days. And he was climbing the walls because he needed his coffee. And I was like, I'm a prepper. So I have plenty of canned everything, canned foods, canned coffee, grounds, so that if I need to trade things, I will. Things that I would never eat. I have more honey than I ever would ever need, but it's for I can trade it. I can barter it. I've got medicines, I've got medical things. I can do stitches, staples, all the things. Um, teeth extractions if you absolutely had to. I don't want to do that, but in an emergency case, if you lose
Right.
everything in a country, like if you go to war, you're not going to have clinics, you're not going to have pharmacies, you're not going to have these things. So I have all of that stuff. And I was like, honey, I have a coffee percolator like you had used in the 60s and 70s. And oh no, oh no. And I'm like, well, Casey's is 5 miles up there. They've got coffee. I guess you can drink that. And he was like, that he did, but he was like, that was horrible. Because I get his coffee from Melaleuca, so it's organic. It doesn't have like, the molds and stuff like that. And so he's a coffee snob, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. My husband, he will drink any kind of coffee, but he
Yeah.
always puts sweetener in it because he won't drink it straight up black. I said, then you don't like it. Stop.
Exactly. It's just what I
That's my
used to say
thing. It's
about.
like my
Yeah.
mom used to drink it straight black. She would
Oh,
drink a
absolutely.
pot a day.
Oh, yeah,
Every
my mom
day she
too.
would drink a pot. My sister,
Yeah.
my oldest sister, is the only other one that drinks coffee, and she drinks it the same
Yeah.
way our mom did. My husband,
Yeah.
though, no, he won't drink it without sweetener in it. It's like whatever, whatever,
Yeah.
It's,
And what kind of sweetener does he use with his type 1?
I think he's got Truvia packets. It's the best
Mhm.
one out there that doesn't have any
Yeah.
maltodextrin or dextrose or any of those sugar
Right.
crap in
Yeah.
it. Or he'll use the stevia liquids like the skinny
Yep.
syrups, and
Yeah.
he uses those too. So he's pretty
Well, that's good.
up. He's been reading more labels the last few
Good.
years than he ever did in his life.
Yeah. And that's only what they have to tell us as to
Right.
what we see on the labels, but at least reading the labels, yeah. My we go shopping once a week. To I don't like the store, but it's Walmart. And I don't really buy anything there. Sometimes I buy bubble wrap because like when I mail these out to people, different stuff that I make, I wrap everything into bubble wrap. So I'll buy bubble wrap or like the small baggies to put stuff in that I'm sending out. But I don't buy anything there. But when my husband's putting stuff in the grocery cart, I'll pick it up and I'm like, well, and I just start reading it out loud. Maltodextrin, ethylene glycol, RB antifreeze. That sounds delicious. And he's just like, oh my God, can we just go through the grocery store? And I'm like, nope, nope, I have to do this.
And he still gets it, right?
Yeah. He does. But
It's,
I'm like, that's
you
okay.
know,
Because I remind
it's
him
like
I'm
I
gonna
have,
be his nurse.
yeah, it's like I have two grown kids. They all live in, my kids, our grandkids all live in New Hampshire still. But my older son, I mean, he's very sick. He had
Mhm.
ulcerative colitis. He
Oh,
had most of his colon removed. Now he has
oh,
Crohn's. And I
oh,
mean, I have sent him so many videos on Crohn's remission by going carnivore. I have sent him,
yeah,
I've talked to him many times, even going keto. It's like, I've
yeah,
set the example. I can't do anything
yeah.
more than that. And I can
Have
talk
you
to him.
sent him Kent Carnivore?
I don't know about that one, but I've gotten quite a few that have from
Yeah,
people that have Crohn's and have told their
yeah,
stories. And it's like,
yeah.
he's going to do what he's going to
The
do.
reason Right. The reason I mentioned Kent Carnivore is because he's in his early 30s,
Mhm.
and he had, ulcerative colitis, all the things, ended up losing his entire colon, and they put a colostomy on him. And of course, as his own story is wonderful, but he talks about how even in the hospital, here he's got a brand new surgical site, colostomy bag, and they're like broccoli and da 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 da. And he's like, sitting there eating that, and that is just going through the system because it's undigestible fiber.
Right.
And so it's just going through a swollen, mad, inflamed area with like a Brillo pad.
Yep.
And, he'd see it in his bag and he's like, that's definitely broccoli. But then when he would eat like the burger patty,
Mhm.
it'd be brown liquid that would end up in his, in his
Right.
pouch. But he's like, but they said it lays in your colon. I don't have a colon. This is my colon basically in the bag. And
Mhm.
he's like, what the heck? And that's where he kind of started. But his story is phenomenal. And his name's Lee, but he lives in Kent. And so his channel name is Kent Carnivore. But boy,
I'll have
that
to
I
reach out
send
to him and
his
get him, see if he'll
yeah,
come on, because
yeah, I
that
really
would be
would be, and
interesting.
he's so funny. He has the funniest sense of humor. Um, yeah, he's a good guy. I think he would be a good one to get on there, and especially for somebody like your son to see. Sometimes they don't want that advice from mom, but maybe somebody that's male, that's closer to his age, maybe that would help.
Yeah. My son is 44 years old and a grandfather.
Yeah.
I have a
Yeah.
great
Oh boy.
grandson. Cute,
There you
cute.
go.
Aaron says, my kids love
Good.
Brussels sprouts with lots of butter and cheese. Yep.
That's good.
And Amy has a question. I'm about 70 days in strict carnivore and I'm having intense knee pain in my right knee. It's swelling and seems to help a lot. Aleve seems to help a lot.
Yeah.
I've never had knee issues. Could this be oxalate dumping?
It potentially could be oxalate dumping. Things that you could do to help with that, for one, is I would be taking turmeric capsules. I would be making turmeric uh, in with some organic olive oil and some castor and be rubbing it on that site. I would be doing Epsom salt soaks. But I have worked with people that will be like, "Oh, my shoulder's killing me." And we'll get 2 months down the road, they're like, "It's still killing me." And they go have an MRI and they're like, "Oh no, you've got scar tissue in there." "Oh yeah. In high school I had a football injury." "That's right." "Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah." And then a year later they're like, "Oh, I don't have that shoulder pain anymore." And then they're like, "I lost 20 more pounds." And they had been in a stall. And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that's because your body was healing something, even though, he had completely forgot about it. It wasn't even that bad of an injury, he thought, but he had scar tissue in there. And when he had a follow up CT scan, that scar tissue was no longer in that capsule. And of course, they
Right.
were like, "Well, this is crazy." And he's like, and he did like everybody else. He tries to tell them what happened. So yeah, if no injury, I would say it's probably oxalates. Another thing you can do if you ever listen to Elizabeth Bright is she talks about you can drink a little bit of black tea or some green tea, and that'll kind of slow down that oxalate dumping by reintroducing some of that in for a little while and see if that doesn't give you a little help. That's what I would do. I'm just a nurse. I'm not a doctor. Thank God.
And this is not medical advice.
That's right. It's what I've seen
Ooh.
work and what I do to like I always talk about I never make a lotion or I make different kind of tinctures or things like that. If I haven't tried it, I would never put it up on my site. I have 34 years of these things working on all of my family. They've been my dummies really and patients in the past and friends and but yeah, if I haven't seen it actually work, I'm not making it.
That's funny. You're dummies. My husband
Yeah,
calls himself my guinea pig when I make a new recipe or something. That's
yeah,
funny.
that's right.
All over my
That's right.
channel. Rick is here from Twin Brook Acres. Hi, all. I'm only fashionably late tonight. Yes, Rick. It's it's a it's an ongoing thing. No, it's amazing, and I missed what Brian said here. Sorry, they're talking amongst themselves. Brian, I don't know if I missed something, but yeah. Lisa is here, Carnivore Whisperer. But if Evelyn said that's amazing, it's amazing.
That's right.
No doubt. Simpson is here. Hi, Cindy and Laura. Hello. This is my husband, the guinea pig. His name is
Yeah.
actually Brian, but he was a big Dale Earnhardt fan.
Oh, oh, love Dale
Big
Earnhardt.
time.
That was my son's favorite
His
driver.
too. When
Yeah.
he got killed in that accident, That's when my husband
Mhm.
quit watching NASCAR. He said, "That's
Yep,
it."
that's my son. That was it. He never watched it again. Even when Dale
Yeah,
Jr. came in, he goes, he is not his father. And we
yeah.
shouldn't expect that of him, but a lot of people I think did. So, yeah.
He is working out in our garage and listening. Well, good.
Yeah. Get rid of the sweetener.
Yeah.
Just a little at a time, just do a little less and a little less and a little less because he'll find that if he wants to try carnivore, getting rid of that sweet taste will help him, or he can try to decrease the sweetener in there a little bit at a time after he's started some carnivore because that will get easier. And it'll get to the point where, like, I used to use stevia glycinate when I would sweeten stuff back in the day. And of course, after I went carnivore, I did away with all of that. Didn't do anything that had any kind of sweet flavor for ever and ever. And I did like 3 drops. I made carnivore tuna salad one time and I put 3 drops in it, just, and oh my, I had to dump it. I was like, it was so sickening sweet. And I thought, I'd put half a
Wow.
teaspoon in there before, but your tastes just change. So yeah. And there's Brian.
Yeah, broken carnivore. Hello, hello.
Yep.
BC. Carnivore coach Edens. My cat was
Oh,
18. She passed Saturday. I am
oh,
so sorry.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Sorry for your loss.
My
My
kitty
poor
cat was an
Doberman had
empath.
dementia. I'm sorry.
My kitty cat was an empath also. So he could tell you, like, of course you're not going to sit there and go, I have pneumonia, but I'm an asthmatic. And so years ago I would get pneumonia about every 3 or 4 years, bronchitis, sinus infections, all the stuff. But wherever your issue was, that's where he would be. Literally, if you're laying down and you had sinus infection, he would lay across your forehead area. If it was in your chest, he was there. If it was, I mean, whatever it was, he would find that spot and lay there. Um, and my other 2 cats, they're not empaths. They're like, no, we have 9 lives and we're not wasting it on your little sicknesses. So no, thank you. So they don't do that.
Cat says, my poor Doberman had dementia. She wouldn't sleep at night. And I went about 6 months with just 2 to 4 hours sleep. It was terrible.
Oh,
We
yeah,
we
that
went to
is
our
bad.
vet. Now this dog, he had blood work done. Everything was perfect.
Yep.
Everything was normal. Everything's good. He has an enlarged heart. He has a heart
Yep.
murmur. They
Mhm.
had given him medicine for that. And the next time we went, I said, is the medicine helping? Well, it's maintaining. So I said, we're not going to give it to him anymore. That's it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
did. We requested something to help him sleep because he was just like
Yep.
this. We weren't getting any
Yep.
sleep. So
Yeah.
they gave us some gabapentin to
Yep.
give him at night. They said, if you can give it to him 2 to 3 times a day. I said, no, we just need it at
Nope.
night.
Mhm. Yep.
So, we put it in a little piece of a hot dog and
Yeah.
like a couple hours before we want him to just chill. And he's been sleeping 8 hours. It's like,
Well,
yes.
good. Yeah, and
And
he needs that anyway. Yeah.
Malia, like this is my son that I just talked about, his wife.
Yay.
Hello, mom, and everyone.
Good.
So, Malia, if you've been listening, look on YouTube
Kent
for Kent
carnivore.
Carnivore and make your husband
Yes.
watch him.
He's a lovely human being.
Make him watch him. Sad. I know it's hard. Yeah. When you
Yeah.
lose a pet, it's going to be really hard on my husband.
Yeah.
He is like really, really close to him. Reese said, when I got my
Oh,
dentures in 2015, I lost 22 pounds on paleo. I don't know why I decided to start a new lifestyle at that time. I was 112 when I started paleo. I didn't mean to lose weight at the time.
I'll bet.
Woo!
That makes the dentures not fit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That and my husband, he has a partial in the front, and he'll
Yep.
go days when we're just at home and he won't wear it. I said, your teeth are going
Yep.
to move and it's not going to fit.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually hard. I tell my husband the same thing. He's got one for the side here. and he'll only wear it, like, if we're having steak or something like that, and I'm like, "You know, you're losing bone in that area
Mhm.
because the thing that keeps the jawbone strong is having that pressure against it all the time like that." That's why I tell people, like, if you can get that, xylitol gum, if you're having trouble with, like, loose teeth, I'm like, get that gum and just chew that because that does help strengthen, um, that, so but I'd wear it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Evelyn said, my husband is impressed with your carnivore kitty. He's a dog trainer and he's been fixing food issues in his clients. Nice.
Excellent.
Us non-coffee drinkers must unite. Yes, Lynn, you're right.
Yes.
There's not enough of us.
Yeah.
Laura, I want to be your best friend in the event of a natural disaster. Yeah.
It's a good
We
idea.
we have a lot of the canned meats and stuff in it's stored away. But
I,
woo,
actually was on a video a year and a half ago with, I can't remember if it was the lionesses, but, there was a gal, I cannot remember what her name was, and we were showing different things like I cold pack deer meat, fish, chicken, whatever, everything, and beef, of course. And then she was like, "Oh, I can scrambled eggs," and I was like, "What? You can canned eggs?" I'd already canned butter, so I have lots of canned butter, stuff like that. And she was like, "Yeah," and I was like, "Oh, you have to tell." So I went out and watched her video a couple times and then I made several variations of that, and oh my god, my grandkids, when they come, they love that. I mean, they're just like, warm it up for 40 seconds in the microwave, grab a spoon, and you're done. It just yeah,
interesting.
stuff.
Do
Yeah.
you have a video on that too?
Maybe I don't know. I don't remember if I did it. I might have. I've done several on, like, how to cold pack meat, how to do bone broth, how to, render fat because I had several hundred quarts of ribeye tallow. And so, I started making my own products like shampoo bars, deodorant, body soaps, shaving cream, beard butter for, men, hopefully men. And, well, some of us German people, sometimes there's a few here or there, but I started making that because I thought, what am I going to do with all of this? Now, you can survive by eating that. Like my grandmother went through depression, so you can do, you could, but I don't want to sit there and eat cold tallow. I suppose if I'm starving to death, I'm going to do that long before I put a plant in my mouth, unless it's a fermented pickle. I do a fermented pickle every so often.
She said, or any unnatural disaster, she wants to be your friend.
That's right.
Currently
Coffee's good.
fasting
We need 2
22
hours.
hours on my way to 60. Evelyn, you are
Yeah.
amazing. What are you going to trade Laura for that? Yeah. Everyone
Some
stop talking and
556.
chatting. I have to step away. All right, Rick, you let me know when you're back. Simpson said, LOL, Cindy, I say the same thing to my husband after watching him doctor up his coffee. If he has to put so much into it, then he isn't a true coffee lover. Yeah.
I said that about my husband with lettuce because we grow everything out in the garden for him. And he says, "Well, I love my leaf lettuce." And I said, "I have yet to see you out there gnawing on that plain. Now you bring it in and you wilt it or you put salad dressing on it, but I don't think you like the lettuce. I think you like the salad dressing that goes with it. But it's still better than him walking around with a bag of Doritos. So I guess that's okay."
Amy says she's probably a better shot than me. So yes, I don't. They're talking amongst themselves.
Yes.
Dustin is here.
So,
Good evening, friends, and talk about somebody that
hey,
doctors up their coffee. This is.
that does he put an egg and all that stuff in there?
I don't think so. Dustin,
Oh,
what do you put
okay.
in your coffee, dude? Because he's one that razzes me for not liking coffee.
Oh, yeah. Well, some people really, I think, do like the coffee, and I think even though they don't need it necessarily for energy, there are some people that just absolutely love the smell and they love the taste of it. I don't like I can't eat just plain liver. I have to put liver. I have to mix it in with my deer meat, when I process my deer or with beef. I don't like that type of a bitter taste. And I think maybe that's why coffee. I mean, I did drink some coffee once in a while with my husband. I do like half a cup of water and half a cup of coffee, just black, but I was like, "No, thanks." It just wasn't for me, but I know people that are like, just the smell of the coffee alone, they just love that, so I'm always like, "Yeah,
I don't like that either.
yeah,
Brian, Amy, I was going to say in the beginning, we have Laura the deer slayer.
yes, we do, and it's coming. Bow season's first, and then we have shotgun season."
Yeah, my adult daughter has colitis
Colitis.
on pasta. Won't listen to carnivore mom here. Yeah,
Yeah, no,
and my son will tell me I'm doing what my doctor says. Because I tell him the
yeah,
worst thing you can do is eat anything with fiber. That's the worst thing you can
absolutely,
do. And he's not on a
absolutely,
bag.
worst thing. Not
He
yet.
did have an ileostomy, and they
Yeah,
rerouted his small intestines to be able to take that off because he was quite young and he didn't want to
mhm,
live on a bag and all that.
yeah,
And
but that is
in
his
hindsight,
future,
it probably would have been the best thing
yeah,
for him because
yeah,
he's had
that
more than 20 surgeries on his
mhm,
intestines
yeah.
and his
Well,
stomach.
and that's kind of the future of what he probably is going to unfortunately have happen. You hate that. You hate that. I hate that for somebody. But, I'm just a common sense person. I worked on motors and cars, and I'm like, if you just think about even just a garden hose is like this. And when you have colitis, diverticulitis, any of it, you've got all this swelling in here, which decreases the room. And now you're taking a insoluble fiber and you're rolling it down through there. In what bizarro world does that make sense? And I know that's what the doctors say because that's what they've been taught. But
Mhm.
even when I talked to a gastroenterologist about this, and I'm like, "Does that make sense to you?" And I explained it just like I said, and he was like, "Well, not really, but it slows down how fast the other nutrient." And I was like, "It doesn't matter because they're not breaking these things down." So,
Yeah.
thank you, Evelyn, for putting that in there.
Yes. Thank you.
But yeah, so I don't know. I If I had any kind of ulcerative colitis, any of those things, the last thing I would be putting in my mouth would be any kind of fiber. And the people I work with, clients, that's what I just don't. I'm always like, that's the first thing I would get rid of. It's called non-soluble fiber for a reason. It's not breaking down.
Mhm.
And cellulose is not soft and smooth, it's rough. And now that's going down in inflamed tissue area, which is why you see a lot of bleeding. You'll see mucousy stools there because that's stripping the mucus that's supposed to line that mucosa lining, and it's just stripping it out. So if it's coming out of you, it's not helpful. So
Yeah.
hopefully he will just try
And that would
and watch it.
explain all the numerous blockages he has.
Yeah.
That
Yep.
totally makes sense. Thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dustin said,
If
just
we can
watch.
save one person from having to have that surgery done, I've taken care of many people that have had the bag, colostomy that was going to be able to be reversed. But like somebody that has colitis, where it's the entire length of that. I mean, colitis, that's inflammation. Something's causing the inflammation. So it's like,
Mhm.
I don't know. I feel, yeah,
But then to go
yeah,
from that and lose most of your colon and then be diagnosed with Crohn's, and that's all you
yeah,
have left. That's like
yeah. I know.
it's
You
it's
just
an
want to save
aggravation.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you make your
Oh,
garlic honey tincture?
just so you know, Kat, I had your question wrote down from earlier, so I was going to do that. So, easiest way for me to describe it is I take a pint jar and get a lid and ring for it, like a canning jar. And I take however many, I mean, you can make 10 cloves if you want. And I don't smash them all the way where they're open. I just kind of press them down to let them do their thing. I put them in there and then I cover at least this much above all those cloves of honey. You put any of your good honey. If you can buy local, that's your best because, especially with allergies, you're going to get a better response with that. And what I do is I keep it in like a kitchen cabinet that's a little bit cooler side of the kitchen. And every day I turn it, let it set for a few minutes, burp it just a little. Don't take the lid off, just kind of open it a little and burp it. And you'll do that for 2, 3 weeks. And then it's ready. And you want to talk about strep throat elixir. It's the bomb. It is the bomb. And it's
Interesting.
the only time I would put that in my body because, of course, honey is not going to be necessarily good. But if you get strep throat, I used to get it 4 times a year, pretty much. 2021 with, the masking craze of my career. Um, I'm a carrier, so I had strep throat 4 times, and I did garlic honey that and didn't have to do any antibiotics.
Oh man, you talk about that. The only time I had the virus
Yep,
was right after Thanksgiving in 23. The first and only time, knock on wood.
yep,
And I had
yeah,
strep with it.
yeah.
First time I ever had strep. I was more miserable with it than I was anything.
Yeah,
Like,
and
it was
that's
bad.
what we used to see when we would see people that almost always had both. It was more the strep issue than it was anything else, but yeah, that
It
was
was
oh,
terrible. I was like,
yeah,
it was like, I don't want to drink. I don't want to eat. I don't want to do anything. I'm
yep,
just going to lay here because
yep.
leave me alone.
Yeah, yeah.
Olds is here, finally. I'm just kidding.
Mhm.
Aaron is here from Low Carb Spin. Hi, all been listening in. You look so young. I can't believe you're
Oh,
54. Amazing.
54. Have a daughter 34 and a son that's gonna be 29.
Wow. Kelly and Karen. Sherry is here. I'm very late. I will need to watch a replay. I appreciate that, Sherry. Go eat dinner. Reese's going to go eat dinner. Malia is her granddaughter's name. Nice.
Oh, that's a pretty name.
Yes. Share it in this chat. Yeah, thank you again. Yes, Max baby. That's my dog. That's our dog.
Oh.
Angel, hello. Cheers from Oregon. What is your take on SIBO and treatment options for IBS?
So for SIBO, I actually, if you go to my channel, the name of my channel is at Healthy Carnivore, and I think somebody put um, the URL in the comments there. I have a whole video that I did on SIBO. Um, One of the easiest things you can do to start that and IBS, ulcerative colitis, acid reflux. I had a gentleman who actually had burned a hole in his esophagus because a potassium tablet in the hospital got stuck and burnt a hole through his esophagus. And
Ouch.
so the easiest thing, and I'm like I've said, I'm very frugal, is go get you some boxes of Knox gelatin packets, orange and white box, and there's 4 packets in there. And what I recommend for the people I work with that is I do all 4 packets, put it in a bowl, and then I do 2 cups of boiling water, 1 cup of cold water, and then I put an electrolyte powder, stick in there of whatever flavor. You can put just a little bit of lemon juice if you want. Otherwise, it just tastes like you're chewing on cow bone because that's what it is. But taking those and putting it in like an 8 by 8 square, like an old brownie pan is what mine is. I put it in the fridge overnight and then I cut it the next day into like fudge size squares. And eating a couple of those, especially before you're going to eat, but allowing some of that to melt and run down the entire track of your system. That is very good for that because SIBO, you've got to close up the holes in the stomach and in the small intestine, because that's what leaky gut. And then I would do, if you can do kefir, I would add kefir. If you can do some good sauerkraut, so you can make it yourself. It's a very easy recipe to look up. The store bought doesn't have a lot of that good bacteria in it anymore. Fermented, anything fermented is a good thing to kind of do to reset the good bacteria in the gut. There are some probiotics out there, but you really have to look for like the refrigerated. Those are the best. Anything that's a hard tablet is pretty much useless when it comes to getting much out of that. So that's the things that I would do, but it's cheap. I mean, I think a box of that Knox gelatin is like $2.79. Um, so that's what I would do.
Nice. Kat says, yes, you do, Laura. I lost track there. I don't know what she's answered. What's the
I
saying
don't
to
either. I'm like, okay.
Mhm. Our friend at Easy Peasy Keto water
Oh yeah.
glasses her eggs. They
Yep.
can keep
Yep.
for
My
years
daughter did
after
that.
that process. Water glass.
Absolutely. You've never heard of water glassing?
No, that's
No.
interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
Dustin says all he puts in his coffee is butter and heavy whipping cream. Amy
Yep.
puts the
I knew
egg,
Amy.
butter, bacon
Yes.
grease. Oh my
Yep.
goodness.
Yeah. Boy, that would
Liver
be
is
a
great
really,
in
really, really
bacon.
good. Oh, yeah. I
My
guess
husband,
that'd
my
be, yeah.
husband loves liver.
Yeah.
So he has a pack in the freezer. Beef liver and onions. He's all about it.
Ew. Ugh. Ugh.
I can't. I'll
I
make it for him, but
no.
no way am
Yeah.
I going to eat it.
Yeah.
So I use
Uh,
espresso instead of coffee.
oh, yeah.
I
Hey,
learned from
carnivore Santa.
Alaska
That's
while
Kenny.
working. Carnivore
That's Kenny.
Santa.
Yep.
Dustin drank it black for years. There you go. So you still can.
That's
I
right.
love coffee. Been drinking it
With
since
just
I was a
cream.
kid with just cream.
Yep.
Looking forward to my
Good.
first hike tomorrow morning as a carnivore and pain-free. It will be part of my upcoming video content next week. Nice. I got to
Awesome.
tell you,
Yeah.
talk about hiking. And we'll make this sweet. My sister she was just here for a few days. Prior to that, she was in Tennessee visiting a friend of hers, and they went hiking. And they went down this one trail, and they had no idea what was going to be at the other end of it. But it was down a lot of rocks and a lot of, really not good terrain. She's a few years older than me. They wound up having to climb a rock wall with the assistance of a rope to help pull themselves, a cable to help pull
Hmm.
themselves up.
Right.
70 years old, scaling a rock wall. I'm like, hey, gone, girl. She had a
Wow.
blast. She had a blast.
Good.
And Debbie, I'm sorry
Good
if I
for
gave
her.
your age again. Someone left the light on the RV. I think the house battery is dead. Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. That ain't good.
I have a friend for the last 25 years. He's got ulcerative colitis, has it under control with meds. He's on a sabbatical and might try carnivore to get off meds, though he won't come on to share his story.
I know some people, yeah, some of the people I've worked with that have had massive healing, like the guy that's no longer diabetic, his hemoglobin A1C is lower than mine, which I'm a little mad about, but that's okay. Um, I mean, he's off all meds. His doctor had to take away his diabetes diagnosis, the whole 9 yards.
Mm,
Um, but he's 76 now, and he's like, I'm not going on there. And I'm like, we don't even have to show you. No. And I'm like, that's okay. I was like, I just want to help as many people know that they can cure these things. These are not forever. So,
right.
which is better.
Cynthia, in your opinion, which is better, the garlic honey or elderberry tincture?
It depends what you're fighting. So, bacterial wise, garlic honey or oregano oil is going to be better for bacteria. Elderberry is better when it comes to viruses. So, that is what I would do,
Mhm.
depending on which thing you have. And you can do both and then, and see. whatever. I mean, you're not going to hurt yourself by taking elderberry if it's a bacterial infection. It's not going to do anything to really help it, but it's not going to hurt you. Um, but yeah, and strep is a bacteria. So I would say garlic honey or oregano oil, which everybody can make as well. It's super simple as well.
Mhm. Rick, I thought you were on your way. Have a safe trip and good time.
Mhm.
Have a great trip. Hit the like buttons and subscribe, please, and thank you. Man, my husband's on the ball. Wow.
Look at him go.
I had strep more times than I can count as a very young girl. Haven't had it since my 30s. It appears to be a pattern for psoriasis peeps.
Yep, that's true.
Wow. And I wanted to leave tonight, but that would mean driving through large Northeast cities on Friday evening. So, nope.
No way. Yeah,
I
that would
wouldn't
be
either.
whew, me neither.
Scrambled eggs video. I think she's requesting
Need
it.
I think that's a request. I know. I think what happened is like in the beginning, like I've had my channel for a long time, but it was like a keto cooking channel and stuff, and I did it on Facebook. But then I started doing every Monday, I do educational, like different health conditions, different
Mhm.
things. Like next Monday, I'm going over like methylene blue. I go over different things. And my side business, my wrestlebrands.com was just supposed to be like just to help, people on fixed income, low income, people who want these natural products that maybe don't have 200 quarts of, tallow sitting around or remineralizing tooth powder that I make, stuff like that. But it just blew up. And so my extra time that I used to do a lot of those cooking videos of different things that I was making, I'm usually making up packages like all the time to send out and then also making new product. I had a vendor event last weekend. And yeah, it was, yeah, it's a lot. And,
Wow.
you know, um, body soaps take 2 to 4 weeks to cure, and shampoo bars take 4 to 6 weeks to cure. So, you have to kind of stay ahead on that thing because you can't wait till you're getting low on something because then you're completely out, which still happens sometimes.
Right. I don't doubt it. That's impressive. That's what. Okay, I have to ask, what is water glassing eggs?
So water glassing eggs is where you take the eggs and you put them down into like your giant, like gallon type canning jars, and you cover them with water. And I believe I think my daughter does white vinegar, put some white vinegar in there, and then she just puts like a cheesecloth with a rubber band over the top. Um, is what, because she's the one that talked to me about it a long time ago. And then I saw somebody show a video of it, and I was like, huh. Um, so yeah, and yeah, I mean, I know they're good. I think they say you can still cook them like scrambled eggs or fried eggs. I have heard people say that the longer you go, the consistency gets a little bit more rubbery, but if you're starving and that's all you have to eat, that's going to be better than munching on leaves outside. So yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Evelyn said, I buy beef gelatin in pounds. I will make up some gummies for flu season.
Yep. I wonder if she puts apple cider vinegar in her gummies.
That I'm not sure. So we'll have
Yeah,
to
because
find out.
yeah,
What does Laura think of sardines?
sardines.
Yes, I said it. Ugh.
Oh, you don't like I'm not a
Nope.
sardine lover either. I have about 15 cans of them in there. Um, but I have done a couple sardine fasts. Um, if I let's say, like I've said, I'm a prepper, so I have cod liver in cans that I have in my prep room, and the sardines are probably going to find their way in here to just be prep stuff because I can see, yeah, they're not my favorite thing, but I think they're a good thing. They have really good, omega 3 to 6 fat ratio. I think they're high protein. Um, but if I had to choose between like half of a ribeye or some lamb burger or a deer steak, I'm going to go for that every time over a sardine. But if I have to, then yeah.
Yeah, I won't even. No, not even entertaining the thought. That's like Aaron said, I'm hiking tomorrow with my two little Cubby Scouts. Nice. Very. Rick had said something here to Lynn. I would bring you along, Lynn, but then you would have to be in an RV with three small kids for 7 days. I wouldn't do that to you.
Mm. That would be a shock to the system.
Yeah, she said that would be fun. Actually, I'm just a big kid
Mhm.
myself. I'd fit right in. That's funny.
Mhm.
I would probably lose my mind. Sorry.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Having more than 2 grandkids, at one time, I have 4 total right now. The oldest is gonna be 13 in December, but I'm just like, "Ooh, if more than 2," and I'm like because I like my stuff to be in a specific spot, my little
Um,
OCD traits, I just like order and tidiness, and so, yeah, it
yeah,
I'm better now than I was when I first became a grandma. So I think I was 41 or 42, 41, I think. And so, yeah, I'm a little better.
yeah. We have six grandchildren and one great grandchild, and
Wow.
they're all out of state. They're all, you know,
Um,
the
mine are,
baby.
I'm very fortunate. Mine are very
Mhm.
close.
The baby is 9 months old. I've seen him once. He's
Yeah.
so cute.
Mhm.
Let's oh no. Sherry said the S word. Cindy will get you. That's S sardine word.
Yeah.
She just wants to see me go. Blech.
Yeah. Mhm.
It's an ongoing thing on our Wednesday lives. Somebody brings them up. Have a great night,
Mhm.
everyone. I've got PhD class in a few minutes. Have fun with that. You and Dustin both.
Yes.
Have a good night. Or we always have our hunting and fishing.
That's exactly right. I love it.
I can put
Love it.
apple cider vinegar in my gummies. I haven't yet.
Yeah. I was going to
I
say, I
have
think I've heard some people that do it.
I have a gummy recipe using electrolytes, but
Hmm.
I
Yeah.
forget what. There's like four ingredients, if that. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I made them. But
Yeah.
anyhow, this has been an hour and a half, and I am so sorry to take up that much of your time.
You
But
are absolutely fine.
I truly appreciate you coming on. I appreciate everybody joining us in the chat on this Friday night when you could be doing, oh, so many other things.
Yeah, but there's nothing good on TV. Everything's kind of crazy, so might
Oh,
as well
no.
be getting a little good stuff.
We watch YouTube all the dang
Yep.
time, all the time.
Yep.
And whether it's my husband and I bowl, whether it's old bowling shows or
Yeah.
people in the community watching their videos or, just anything. We do reselling.
Yeah.
So we've watched reseller
Yeah.
videos and
Sure.
it's just wild. It's crazy. Evelyn said, wow, that went fast. I learned a lot. Thanks, ladies. Thank you, Evelyn. You're
Yes.
amazing. Evelyn, wouldn't that make them Sour Patch gummies? Now that sounds
It
okay.
it might. It's good for those people though that have like your SIBO because that good bacteria, if you do the apple cider vinegar with the mother in it and you put that in there, that helps get that down there too. And especially with like the gelatin, that would probably be a very good thing to do.
Nice. So
Yeah,
everybody have a great night. For those of you that
absolutely.
join us on Wednesday nights, just going to remind you we're doing three giveaways next Wednesday live. Or you have to go into the last Wednesday night live video in the comments section and type in hail razors. Hail
Okay.
razors. That's our group name on Wednesday nights. So
I
what the
like that.
hail came about.
Right.
Um, Sherry Nevada Pup, she lives in Arizona. She sent me a video a while back. It's been a while now of it hailing. And
Oh,
my brain thinks Arizona is hot, you
right.
know?
can't have this.
And it's like, what? So I said something about it in our live stream. And one of the guys who was in there, Sean, he says, what the hell? And that just stuck. It just stuck. And then they were trying to say, well, what are you going to call us? Hail something, hail this. And my sister said, what about hail raisers? And I'm like,
There you
perfect.
go.
That's perfect. So yeah, that's where all that
Yeah, I
came.
like it.
It was pretty funny. Night, I'll see you in a couple weeks. You have a safe trip, Rick, when you do leave. Great night. Great chat with Laura tonight. Good night, everyone. Man, words are getting hard. Everyone have a great night. Eat meat. You know,
That's right.
I'm impressed with my husband. Like I said, it's just wild.
I always
I'm
say,
way behind.
eat, and repeat is what I say on my channel.
Yeah, he usually does too. Eat meat,
Yeah.
eat and repeat.
Yep.
Night all. Good night, Wendy. Thank
Good
you
night,
for
Wendy.
joining us.
Yeah.
It's all my fault. It was April 3rd, Nevada, which was her dog that passed away. 21st birthday.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Thanks. Good night. Good night. And good night, everyone. Thanks, Cindy and Laura. Thank you, Lisa. And Laura, again, thank you so much for joining me.
You're welcome.
If you ever want to come back, we're good. This was fun.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Everybody have a great night. I will see you Wednesday with Brian. Don't forget, leave a comment if you want to be entered in the giveaway. Giveaway? The giveaway. Good night, everyone.
See ya.
Woo.